Hank is a Chinese spy. Let me put out this video before the next episode comes out in case my theory is right. I tried looking up if anybody else thinks the same way. It seems like nobody does, so maybe I'm the only one and maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see. In episode 4, we had a flashback from Cooper's perspective where he heard a Chinese soldier use the phrase okie dokie. Initially, I thought this scene was really strange, and I thought it might have been like a dream, like he was mixing up his memories with the present since he's been traveling with Lucy. But it seems like it's something that actually happened. So ever since then, I've been wondering why would this Chinese soldier who was speaking Chinese up till this point use the phrase okie dokie in English, which is Lucy's catchphrase. She said it all the time in season 1. But then I thought, maybe it's hinting that Hank is Chinese, because how would Lucy have learned this catchphrase? Maybe from her dad. Maybe that's the connection that's being hinted at here. There wasn't really anything else I could think of to suggest this, so I pushed the thought to the back of my mind, but now that we're up to episode 7, some reveals in this episode especially kind of solidified the theory for me that Hank is a Chinese spy. When we first found out that Steph was Canadian, it was played as kind of a joke, like all these other characters treating it like it's this big deal when it's really not. In Fallout lore, there actually is a bit of tension between America and Canada right before the bombs drop. Maybe there was more to it, but I think it also makes sense if Steph herself is also a Chinese spy, because in episode 7 we see her like assassinate some guy at the border, and then we see her at a hotel asking Cooper how a minimum wage worker like herself can get into a vault. Timeline-wise, it seems like this scene is really close to the bombs dropping, so it raises the question of how is she able to so quickly get into a management position in order to be frozen in the vault. But it might make sense if she and Hank are both Chinese spies, because in a way this scene shows them meeting for the first time. Hank is unconscious, but we can imagine that after she wheels him out of Cooper's room, she wakes him up and, Hank helps her infiltrate Vault-Tec as he's already on the inside. I also think something that's been a little bit odd this season that maybe makes a bit more sense if Hank is a Chinese spy is that he was portrayed as this kind of bumbling secretary character pre-war, and post-war, he's able to seemingly effortlessly subdue and capture several people, including violent legionaries off-screen. Maybe the reason is because the bumbling secretary persona was more of an act, and this is his real self. He's actually very competent and a trained fighter. I genuinely think there's going to be a reveal in episode 8 that confirms this is the case, but I guess we'll see, because like I said, I haven't seen anybody else talk about this